Hello, hello. I am coming to you from my car. Just because I really wanted to get this done before it became even more dated than it already was. Yeah, yes. After years of waiting, finally, episode 7, The Force Awakens is in theaters. We made it. It's done. It's over, and we've seen it, and now what? Well, fear not. I have a list of 4 or 5-ish things we can talk about or mull over before episode 8. We can microanalyze the movie's flaws, get caught up in a stupid internet argument. Hey, remember when Max Landis said that Rey was a Mary Sue? Wasn't that stupid of him? Mary Sue is not a generic term for an overpowered or extra competent character. It's the word for a very specific kind of self-insertion fantasy who is admired and adored by all the canon characters. It is a uniquely fanfiction-related phenomenon. It is not a catch-all term for any character that is overpowered. And yeah, I know people say Rey's overpowered or that she's just too good at things to be a real character. And you know what? That's not right either. I mean, when we meet her, yeah, she's surviving, but she's surviving on the very brink of starvation. She's bringing scrap every day in order to live, and she clearly learned machines because then she knows what kind of scrap to get. If she can fix up that scrap, it probably goes for more. And she learned to fly because she probably needs to transport it and keep it safe from people who would knock down the small female human and take her stuff for themselves. That's probably why she knows how to fight as well. She's had to look after herself. She has an array of survival skills. She didn't just magically wake up and be good at things. She has been living this way probably for her entire life. And yet this is kind of her voyage of discovery. She herself had no idea she was capable of any of this. I mean, she knew she could fly and fix machines, but she'd never flown anything the way she flew the Millennium Falcon. But then we know that's because there's no ships like the Millennium Falcon. That baby's one of a kind. What they did with making her a pilot, though, is interesting because then it becomes clear that, you know what, she could leave Jakku whenever she wants to. She can fly. She stays because of that fixation on that childish little hope that someday her family will come back for her. Learning to let that go was really hard for her. It had been the thought that kept her going for so long, and when she had to finally accept that it was never going to happen, she broke down and cried. I mean, what did she have left if the hope that had sustained her was all gone now? And the very first time she's exposed to the Force, it freaks the shit out of her. It makes her just kind of run off blindly in a random direction and get herself immediately captured. It almost screws over everything. If they had actually found BB-8, it would have been her fault. There's a lot I like about Rey. I like that she's not a naive farmer like Luke was when we first met him. She knows she has some kind of secret, and it's this thing that she's carried around with her. I like the rawness and the kind of unpolishedness of her character. She's not done becoming what she's going to be. Hey, that's another thing we can do now that we've seen the movie. Let's microanalyze the unanswered questions, especially the really big one, which is, who is Rey? People have different theories. We know she was left on Jakku in the care of a scrap dealer by a First Order dropship, the same one we saw dropping off Finn. We know that she was marking down the days on the wall. We saw she had a homemade doll that looked like an X-Wing pilot and a old Rebel Alliance X-Wing helmet that she liked to wear, like maybe just as a toy or some kind of security blanket, but something about X-Wing pilots just seemed comforting for her. And we know that Rey herself actually kind of knows something about why her identity is a secret, which is why when BB-8 says he's classified, she says, "Oh, me too, big secret." And she never tells anyone her family name. And in fact, we don't even have a guarantee that Rey is her real name. Because there was a kind of moment where Finn said his name was Finn and she said her name was Rey, and they kind of looked at each other. and you could tell that they both kind of knew they weren't telling each other the whole story. That story being, namely, that Finn was given his name like a day ago by someone he was escaping with, and Rey knows more about why she was hidden than she's telling. Family is a huge theme in Star Wars, so the easy explanation of who Rey is that she is the child or somehow related to one of our previously established Force-sensitive heroes, but there's evidence against anyone you kind of want to pick. There's a lot of similarities between Kylo Ren and the old extended universe's Jacen Solo. I mean, in the novels, Jacen was the son of Han and Leia who went dark side, killed Luke Skywalker's wife, and was eventually redeemed by his twin sister. But that does not seem likely in this case, just because Adam Driver is 32 and Daisy Ridley is 23. I don't think they're playing twins. Alternately, another theory is she's not his twin, but she's his younger sister. There's not enough time for that either, because there would have been no reason to keep her from him unless he was already evil when she was born, and he would have had to have been the most evil 10-year-old in the world. Plus, I can't see Han and Leia leaving their daughter in the care of a callous scrap dealer who's gonna starve her. I just can't see them doing that. Basically, Leia saw her and hugged her, and yet I didn't get I know we don't see them actually converse, but Leia's strong enough in the Force that if Rey was her daughter, she'd know. I don't think Leia's the mother. And that's the problem when the original trilogy is only going to have one female character of any importance. If she's not Leia's daughter, then forget who she's related to. Who could her mother possibly be? Luke didn't have an on-screen love interest that he didn't turn out to be related to. And I don't think it's likely that Ben Kenobi or Senator Palpatine were dating very much, considering their day jobs. I know the off-screen wife is a very old trope, but god damn it, if someone is going to meet and mate with Luke Skywalker, I want to know who she was. If Ben is the new version of Jacen, I'd love to see what the new stand-in for Mara Jade would be. Oh, if you don't know Mara Jade, she was the deeply troubled, super intense, dark side-using half-Sith assassin who wound up marrying Luke Skywalker and having his children. If she exists, she'd be unlike any other character we've seen in the Star Wars films, and it would be awesome! It's totally gonna be an off-screen wife. Ugh. But if it is, I'm complaining already, because that's bullshit. But the other big unanswered question is, what happened to Ben Solo? What turned him into Kylo Ren? What turned him to the dark side? What does he think Vader was doing that he feels like he needs to continue? Vader didn't really have a broader cosmic mission. He was kind of just an enforcer for the Emperor. And the Emperor's dead. Maybe he means wiping out light side of the Force users, which Vader apparently did a lot of, but if so, then Kylo's already done that, because he shut down Luke's Padawan school. I don't get what he thinks is worth all of this. When Han told him, you know he'll kill you as soon as he doesn't need you anymore, he does know that. But for some reason, he thinks that this is what he has to do. Why? What is going on? Who were the Knights of Ren, and who were those guys standing next to Ren in that flashback when Luke was reaching for R2-D2? I know a lot of these answers are sure to come in other films, but let's speculate endlessly anyway. We don't have anything else to do right now, right? Darth Plagueis is behind it all! Another thing we can do! Start trolling the internet for information and speculation about the upcoming movies. Next year, we are getting our first anthology film. It's called Rogue One. It's directed by Gareth Edwards of Monsters and Godzilla, and it's all about X-Wings. Okay, what we know about Rogue One. It takes place between episodes 3 and 4 and focuses on a group of rebels out to steal the plans for the Death Star. It seems extremely likely that most, if not all, of our main characters will die doing this, but that's just my guess. That's not a rumor, that's just my own theory. It's the first anthology film, which means standalone story with no direct sequels. That would be the way to do it. We know Felicity Jones is in it, Mads Mikkelsen, Forrest Whitaker, Diego Luna, Alan Tudyk, and other people. There's been some rumor that there will be at least a mention of General Tarkin, but we're not sure. And no one's really been able to confirm whether or not Darth Vader is going to be in it. Though he could, considering what they're doing with the timeline. It's supposed to be gritty and realistic and focus on kind of how war is hell even in space. Sounds like a great time. That'll be Rogue One. I'm actually really looking forward to it. And of course, we can speculate on episode 8. Apparently, it's supposed to pick up where the next one left off, with Luke training Rey, Snoke working on whatever his plan is, and probably another Death Star, just because they can't seem to get the hint that they should stop making those. Apparently, the entire cast of The Force Awakens has been confirmed to appear, including the one who died, so we might get flashback scenes. According to Greg Gutenberg, JJ was alright with just doing The Force Awakens, and then he read the script for episode 8, and he became really annoyed that he wasn't making it. Rian Johnson's gonna kill it, though. I've been a fan of his work since Breaking Bad. And I liked Looper. I really did. He's great. And I wish a meteor would fall on Colin Trevorrow, and then JJ would take over that one. That'll be like 6 years down the line. There's time for a meteor, right? True fact, if you are frustrated by the lack of Luke Skywalker in this film, apparently originally his part was much bigger, but as they developed the film, they realized that any scene with Luke in it kind of became a scene that was all about Luke, which made it really, really hard to focus the story on the other characters. So his part just kind of became smaller and smaller and smaller, and finally they realized that this particular movie kind of had to be the search for Luke. He was the goal that they had to get to. He is the new hope of the old hope? Does that make sense? Don't worry, there's basically no way he doesn't play a much bigger part in the upcoming films. And I'm not just saying that because Mark Hamill seems to be continuing to lose weight. He looks great, by the way. Well done, Mark. But guys, I know that they're making deliberate Ben Kenobi references with Luke's beard and his robes and that kind of thing. You already killed off your legacy player. Sorry, Kylo, you don't get to put a lightsaber through Luke Skywalker. No. No, 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 no. No, just don't do it. Okay, great, thanks, glad we had this talk. No killing off Luke, no killing off Leia, at least not unless the actors really, really want you to. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, while you wait, you can indulge in more Star Wars related stuff. Adam Driver's going to host SNL on January 16th, so you can set your TiVos. The Knights of the Old Republic is on Steam for less than you'd pay for a couple new Adele songs. You can go play that. I'm a little annoyed that there's kind of no way to accrue dark side points without just being randomly mean to everybody, and I don't think that's a very good way to portray the allure of the dark side, but of course this is assuming Steam is actually working again by the time I upload this. It should be, right? Come on, Valve, I know you're all on vacation, but come on, this is important, get on this. Clone Wars is on Netflix, you're welcome. Star Wars Rebels, it's out there. Some of the new books are supposed to be really good if you're a total nerd. So much new Star Wars stuff coming and it's only a year away! What are we gonna do?